Welcome back. In this lecture, we will give a qualitative overview of a Fermi theory of beta decay. Um, there are deeper issues in quantum mechanics and relativity which needs to be incorporated to understand this in detail. But broad overview will be provided, which is sufficient for the scope of this course. So in the previous class, we had introduced this expression. How do we get to or the general features behind this expression? Here, P refers to the momentum of the beta particle. This is a transition or a transformation matrix which takes an initial wave function to the final state. A lot of physics goes into constructing this matrix. In a way, it's a measure of an overlap between the initial wave function and the final wave function. G is an empirically determined Fermi constant. It is correlated with the atomic number of the nucleus and so on. This is an important factor which we'll elaborate in the next few slides. This is indicative of the electronic states between P and P plus dP. So in a way, the initial state is the electron and antineutrino are in the nucleus. Zero refers to the position of the nucleus. And the final state is the electron, which has a distribution of momentum, and this electron is outside the nucleus. Remember, what is that we are trying to understand? The experimental observation is that there is a continuous spectra for the beta particles that are emitted in beta decay. How do we rationalize that? And that is the objective of the Fermi theory for beta decay. So there are some non-dimensional parameters. So we first non-dimensionalize momentum. This is the rest mass of electrons. Because the energy of the electrons are such that the velocity of the electrons is rather high, aspects of relativity has to be introduced. So the mass of beta particles are different from that of its rest mass. And we also have the non-dimensional energy. Here, this refers to the mass of beta particles, which is different from its rest mass. So this is the kinetic energy of beta particle. This is the energy of the velocity of beta particles rather high, close to that of speed of light. So there is a substantial difference between its actual mass and the rest mass. So this can be simplified into this thing. It's a simple simplification. These two can be related via this dimensionless relationship. So eventually, what we will derive is an expression for statistical uh, factor. And this term is going to be rather important for explaining the continuous spectra of beta decay. So here, our objective is to just give a broad overview of some of the physics that goes into this derivation. A thorough job is beyond the scope of this course, but at least you will get hopefully you'll get a feel for how this model is built. So this is the energy that is released due to transformation, because there are two light particles. All the energy is distributed into the two light particles. This is the energy of taken up by the antineutrino. This is the energy due to beta particle. Okay, so the recoil of rest of the system is rather less. So this is an expression that comes from relativity. We have explained why this is 2 MEC squared in one of the previous lectures. So you can you have to get the momentum from the energy relationship. Okay, so this is an aspect of relativity. Uh, so this is the momentum of the beta particle. This is the speed of light, and so on. So and then this is the momentum of the neutrino. Uh, Time c is the energy of the neutrino. So this expression comes from, again, some aspects comes from relativity, and some aspects is because of this energy balance, right? Energy of the neutrino is E naught minus E. That is what comes here. This is the momentum that you get from energy divided by speed of thing. Another important aspect is an aspect of statistical mechanics. So there is a website with an interesting domain name, that is Britney Spears. Uh, so this gives you an expression for density of states. Okay, this is something that you would see in a first course in statistical mechanics, either in chemical engineering or chemistry or the physics department. What you try to do is that you count the number of states in a momentum space, right? So this is so what you do is that you construct a shell of radius b, and the thickness of the shell is dp. The volume of the shell is this quantity. Okay, so all this is elaborated in this website. You can go through this, but you may have also done this in your statistical mechanics class. So the number of particles in the shell is given by this quantity. So this is the number of uh, states of the beta particle within the shell. Okay, that is given by this quantity. A similar computation can be made for the number of states for the neutrino particle. In that, the momentum space is denoted by q. So these two are rather independent, right? So the total number of states is given by the number of states of the beta particle times the number of states of the neutrino states. So this is the total number of states because they are rather independent. Uh, then what we try to do is that we simplify this particular expression to obtain the density of states. Density of states is number of states per unit energy. So you divide this expression by this quantity. So so you get the number of states for a constant uh, energy of the electrons. So this is a constant. So if you take a derivative, dq is given by this expression. So what the dq varies only because of variation in dE naught, because we take this, we differentiate this at constant electron energies. Okay, so again, some of this is explained here, but to do justice to this, you have to go a lot deeper into nuclear physics. So I'm just trying to give you a broad overview of this derivation. So once you have this, you insert this quantity into this quantity. So dE naught will cancel off with this. Therefore, you get this expression by substituting for q from this expression. So you substitute this into this and q squared using this, you get this expression. So already you will get an idea how to get this parabolic relationship, because there's already this quadratic dependence. We will elaborate this further in the next few slides. So this expression from this previous slide. So let us interpret this quantity. So what is the experimental observation? The experimental observation is the energy spectra in beta decay is parabolic. That is, as you vary the electron energy, at low electron energy, you have less number of beta particles. At high energies, you have less, but somewhere in the middle, you have large number of particles. So this has to be interpreted using this expression, which we try to give a broad overview of the derivation. So let's try to understand this. When E is that is the electron energy is, let's say, very low. Okay. So in that case, this quantity, this is low. This quantity will be a large number, but momentum of the beta particle will be less. Okay, because of that reason, it will be lesser here. Supposing E is a large number. Okay, so this quantity will be a large number, but this minus this quantity will be a small number. So where do you get the maximum number of particles per unit energy is somewhere in the middle. Okay, so not too low or not too high energy of beta particles gives you the maximum number of particles per unit energy. So, and in addition, this continuous spectrum is also obtained via this expression. Okay, so this expression is suggestive of two important features. One is there's a continuous spectra, and the other important feature is this parabolic kind of relationship when we plot the number of beta particles per unit energy against the energy. Okay, so we have not done justice to the derivation, but what you have to understand is the central result of Fermi theory of beta decay is from this expression, and this explains the experimental observation. In the next lecture, we will introduce one more aspect of the theory that explains a particular aspect of beta decay, how beta decay is different for beta minus decay and beta plus decay. That will be discussed in the next lecture. Thank you.